Okay, jumping right in. Today we're going to immediately be dumped into a meeting with Nick and Michael, and it's going to be a fun day showing off some of the new things that we've been working on. I've been doing a lot of work on environments that you can enter into, locations, applications, web pages, and linking them back to the skills that are associated with them, or even allowing you, the Rook user, to write your own skills for these environments and your own memories into locations. Michael has been working on an Android client, which I'm excited to see. Nick has been thinking through how we start harvesting lots of skills for all the environments that are out there. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we'll be talking about UI UX. Right now, maybe you guys have seen the little purple screen on the side. We can do better. So we'll figure out how. By the way, I'm speaking soon. That is a QR code to the speaking gig with O'Reilly. I'm going to be showing some of the interesting things I have learned of late. All right, that said, I better jump into Zoom and see if they're there. Or Google Meet. Getting my fancy schmancy microphone. Hello.
Yep.
Of course, I'm streaming. Is that okay? You're not on the screen, but you will be. Is that all right?
Mm,
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Streaming. Oh. All right. So I guess we're waiting for Nick. I meant for this to be a Zoom meeting. All right. There he is. Hello.
Yo.
Yo.
Yep.
All right. Is this time still okay for everybody? We good?
Sure.
Yep. I've got like about an hour.
Okay. Cool. That's fine. What's on our agenda? Did you see what I stuck in the calendar?
Yeah. UI discussion and what else?
By the way, Nick, we are streaming, so no nose picking rules apply. We
Thank
don't
you.
want what happened last time to happen again, now, do we?
Cool. Oh no.
Uh,
Um,
I'm gonna share a doc so we can just type in front of it. I should have done this beforehand.
yes. All right.
Copy. I can't find anything in Google Hangouts. There you go. Somewhere I've just pasted a document to you.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, sure.
Took a while to show up for me.
Same. Okay, Andrew.
All right, what should we add to this list, and then what should we tackle first?
Android app basically just looks like the iOS app, but I also haven't looked at the iOS app recently. So
Oh, that's. I still want to see it.
I don't know if there's really anything to add. I'm interested to see the recent stuff you've done.
yeah, let me see.
I watched like your recap video. I guess that was from 2 days ago now. But I am, and then maybe UI UX. We can also brainstorm on some of my stuff, but I think catching up on what changes you've made is interesting.
Okay. Then how about let's go in order. Do you want to show us what you got, Michael?
Sure. So, oh no, it's just like I need a stop button on this thing. So let me just share. So I'm now sharing the Android app. So I just it's just doing a whole bunch of things. I said testing, and now it's just like going on a rampage. But whatever. Yeah, wow. It's just doing things. So it's the Android app. It just has everything on it. I added a background usage section because on Android, and I haven't investigated this on iOS, but I was having an issue where it was actively like going into the background, and then the actual like WebSocket connection to the server would stop because it was trying to save battery, so it like sleeps background applications. So now it's allow background activity is a setting you kind of have to enable to really make it usable, but
Yep.
good enough. Where did it go? Okay, yeah, I can. For some reason, when I resume a chat on Android, it just doesn't get the previous messages, but it's still
Yeah.
doing some stuff. I also need a stop button. I have a few notes that to improve, but
Yeah.
yeah,
The
it only
the
functions.
the message is not reappearing. Is it adopting some of the bad habits of the client that I made for the iPhone? I've got to fix that soon. That's a like
Oh well.
we're getting ready to throw away the whole UI and start over. So now's a good time.
Okay. Yeah. It's good. It's just doing some random stuff based on my file system context from a different application. Um, Unfortunately, it doesn't detect my apartment, which as like a valid building, which is annoying, but whatever.
One of the
Um,
one of the cool things that Greg stuck in there was the ability to create arbitrary. Um, it's not a box. That'd be cool maybe, but it's like a dot and a radius, and you can say this is my house.
yeah, I've been meaning to like kind of merge the two concepts,
Hmm.
so that it would just show like a I guess this is doxing me, whatever. Um, but um,
I don't think it is.
yeah, I was thinking just having like the map effectively of in this places screen, but I'm not sure exactly how we want to manage that because I was thinking, kind of going along with what you were thinking with the environments and the like the businesses or the other environments that are listed underneath this. For some reason, it's not showing. uh, having that just have like an edit button next to the map or something on the environment screen to just modify where you're at. So uh, picking like I think in the iOS app you had the like inter building uh, next to any environment.
Or maybe something like Uber, where you just drag the whole map and your dropper pin stays where it is. And you're like, no, I'm actually here.
Yeah. Let me pull up a screenshot of what I was thinking of that. Yeah, so I was at Publix, and this is what it actually showed, which is really nice. So I was at a random Publix, and yeah, I was just joined into that Publix building. Or I could join it, and there was a bunch of other businesses, but that didn't actually matter. For some reason, like this one actually had like a Publix URL uh, related to it. So I noticed that when chatting with it with this building context, um, we don't actually have a like web search skill yet, which is unfortunate because it was injecting the URL context at the time of the Publix itself. So, and a lot of the Publix locations actually have the store number next to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have conceivably navigated the Publix website, gotten like deals or whatever, and returned them to me. But I'm not sure if we want to like have a web search skill active on someone's phone or have like a whitelist scenario where it's like, oh, you're only able to navigate this domain, like publix.com slash whatever.
Yeah. You're using the Pi agent, I guess.
Yep, now I am.
Yeah. So Pi comes with like just flat nothing built in. Read, write, edit, bash. I think that's it. And it doesn't have web search or web fetch. So I've you can create your own configure agent configuration where you add in your skills or point to whatever setup you want it to, and it'll use that. And so for me, I've just added the Brave search and fetch skill, and it's got an API key and all that stuff to the agent that's underneath everything. But yeah, what do we do for people? I think the application is not terribly useful if you don't have a web search skill.
Yeah, um, that's my estimation. And just one other bit of detail is that, sorry, I keep sharing and unsharing, but easiest way to navigate some of this.
For sure.
So I also made a debug screen that's actually like logging GPS accuracy and everything. And I'm actively building out a more like sophisticated like movement system because it is very I think we almost need like in order to make places more useful
Mm-hmm.
because and in order to detect whether you're in a place quickly, you have to effectively you have to be able to know when someone's actually like parked and is now actively walking up to a building. Um,
I don't know. I don't necessarily.
oh well.
I mean, I guess you don't teleport to a building, but
Right.
what's the simplest thing we can get by with so that we don't use too much? Definitely not too much. I mean, hopefully zero GPS because that's the expensive one. And just see how close we can get with a minimal accelerometer or none, and the other location stuff, which is I guess you told me last time, it's either Wi-Fi or it's the cell tower, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's why if you see like the provider, so this is like location.
Oh, cool.
It's fused on Android by default, so it is actively like using accelerometer behind the scenes to enhance GPS,
Mhm.
but I'm logging accelerometer and GPS to a file for debugging, along with like screen state and stuff, just to like try to improve this. So I have this like button that like lets me record stuff just as like a testing mode,
Mhm.
uh, and now I can like as part of testing, I'm doing like playback to make sure that it's actually detecting the buildings correctly
Mhm.
and seeing if that works. Because unfortunately, on iOS, there's like a you are visiting a location type event, but on Android, there's not really a good way of doing that, from what I can tell.
Mm.
So,
You have to like
I-
make your own then, basically.
pretty much, yep, but not too difficult.
Okay. Well,
Yep, messing around with location still, mostly.
so like if you're not accelerating at the speed of a car, then you're
Right.
someplace maybe. It's, of course, if you're accelerating at the speed of a car, then maybe your location should be automobile or something like transit should be its own environment.
I think there is there might have to be some type of like modifiers because if you are driving, like we probably maybe we shouldn't be that prescriptive, but some skills are probably more useful if you're actually driving, like in another thing, like when it's done or something.
Mm, yeah.
Um, versus like if you're actually walking or if you're just if you're like stationary at home, it's like yeah, just have it default to speech to text, for instance.
Yeah. Interesting. All
Yep.
right.
So that's mostly the Android app.
Very
I
cool.
think mostly parody.
Very cool. I need to get back. I need to get back on the iPhone app more and play with the analogous stuff on this side and make sure I'm familiar with it. But we'll talk about UI UX here in a second, so we can
Yep.
figure that out. All right, I'm gonna do my show and tell real quick. I'm gonna share my entire screen. YOLO, right? All right, there's everybody.
Maybe 1 second.
Sure. All right, I'm gonna go over here and
Okay.
we'll kill the database. Clump. I'm going to just kind of get everything kicked back off again. Should have done this earlier. I apologize. All right, so there's the dude. Okay, so what's a good demo? What's a good demo? I know what a good demo is. I'll get him set up on my computer, and I'll also get this web browser stuck right beside him. Oops, no, this web browser. All right. All right, so I'm going to start a new agent. We'll just pick this one, demo. Like, also watch the UI. Like, I had to name this, and I've only got one window here. I don't like the UI, UX. So kind of keep rolling that at the back of your head. But right now, I've got 20 available environments. As soon as this thing wakes up, it takes an accounting of everything it sees that I might have brought into my view. But it's after the Rook server has been running for a while, or sorry, the Rook client has been running for a while. It's like, all right, I'll only remind the server every 5 minutes if he's still looking at it. So after at steady state, this is going to be much more defined environments, stuff that I've actually been really focusing on. Also, the environment display, not great. I mean, you can't even scroll. It's just like, it just gets longer. We got to do something about the environments that have long, awful names. Like, should we have nicknames? Should we? I don't know what we should do about that.
Looks like it's duplicating too, like it doesn't, like you have one doc that is, it thinks it's like 4 different environments based off where it's truncating the.
Oh, interesting.
URLs.
Okay, so this is probably, it's not a bug, but it's not a great experience yet, because
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
by virtue of having entered this, sorry, it's so tiny, this place, environments are hierarchical. So I have also entered google.com.
Right.
But like some of these we are just not going to care about. Should we even show them? Can we figure out how not to show too much stuff? And then I'm going to go to a bunch of pages here. My page, and I'll do software Doug. All right, and the environments are not updating yet. They will, don't worry about it. All right, so we have home.com, software, Johns. There's more examples of stuff that's like, But I'm going to go to arcturouslabs.com. And when I go to arcturouslabs.com, I'm going to join it. And by virtue of joining it, I get shown like, okay, this environment actually has different environments. Someone's mic is hugely loud. I think that's you, Mr. Nick.
It's me.
Sorry.
Unsure.
And so we get a bundle offer. This thing has a skill called Talk to Consultant. Ideally, I would show the contents of that skill, but I just haven't got around to re-implementing that since everything else has been stuck into place. But basically, Talk to Consultant, it's a skill that says, here's how you submit a form right here. So I'm going to allow this time. I'm going to go back up to my environment. I'm going to say, how can you put me in contact with Arcturus Consulting? And it's going to spell it wrong, but hopefully the agent figures it out. All right, I'm going to say, write Arcturus Consulting and tell them how awesome they are at building agents, and do it in the form of a limerick. My email address is john@example.com. Okay, so we're thinking deeply about our limericks. Done. All right, let's see if it's really done. There we are.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, popped in. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Effectively, I wandered around. I've got basically what is a normal chat agent, but it's got all my stuff in it. It's me because I've set up the config. It has my skills and stuff that I need, and it is aware because of accessibility of which web pages I'm on, which applications I'm in. I could do something similar with Obsidian. It's actually got some real things that are useful at this point. And right now, this is version 0. I go to the environments and I explicitly elect to join things. It's a messy display. It's awful. There's definitely things that are missing. You can't see what skills are in there. You can't even see which things have skills. So much to be done here. But once I'm in an environment, it does faithfully say, okay, cool, you're in this environment, so you can we're going to add a skill to this environment. Or we're going to read the skill to this environment, and then it can actually use it. So we just use it for that. But I can also do, let's say I'm already inside Arcturus Labs, so let's do something else with that. Okay, so I want to give myself a reminder for Arcturus Labs. Where would I write that reminder? I'm hoping it sees the instructions clearly enough to do this. All right, cool. It knows where I can write to agents.md. And also fodder for discussion if this is the best way to do it, but every time I get to Arcturus Labs environment, I want my computer to welcome me. I want it to use the Macintosh say command, and I want it to say, welcome to Arcturus Labs. Welcome to Arcturus Labs. I mean, I've got so many indications.
Welcome to Arcturus Labs.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
My speech to text never ever gets Arcturus Labs, and it always has some sort of creative thing. Maybe I shouldn't have called it Arcturus Labs. All right, so I'm going to create a new agent that doesn't know anything. Demo 1 has no idea anything about Arcturus Labs or what we just did. I hope. Okay. I still have access to Arcturus Labs. I can always allow, but for our demos, I'm letting it not always allow. And oh, but I am. Oh, okay. I haven't said anything yet. Hi. Let's see what happens. Yeah. You didn't say what you're supposed to. Okay. It's reading stuff. Yeah, right.
Welcome to Arcturus Labs.
Ta-da! So, I think maybe a little bit of prompting will improve that particular situation. I've got to make sure I understand when the agent's text is being injected into the conversation. I think it probably was injected at that point, and it should have been a little bit more proactive. But we'll see.
Steer it from the beginning, like without an existing like user prompt. That might be one option.
Yeah, that's another thing that I haven't really played with yet. Effectively, it's dropping us in without, like, I'm never speaking on behalf of the user yet. Eventually, it will be nice to say, like in angle brackets, hey, the environment has been updated. Here's the new state or something like that. But also we got to be very careful about that because it's a ripe vector for prompt injection attacks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep that in the back of your mind too. All right. So, anyways, the moral of the whole.
I wonder. Sorry.
Yeah.
Finish your thought.
Nope. My thoughts are done.
I wonder if there's things that it should like have access instead to like a script rather than necessarily agents, just agents ND, because that's always going to be like non-deterministic. And so I wonder if we also want to have a deterministic way of like doing certain things in skills.
Like it might make sense to have like a scripted type experience for like you enter a museum or like you're at a specific website, right?
Effectively, what you're talking about is hooks. And yeah, so whenever you enter in this environment, what would be the hook for entering environment? You get all the environment metadata, you get the name of the environment, and you get, Python script or whatever that executes on that data to do the thing. So
Right.
I don't know exactly what the API for that is, but that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
You have entered a museum is actually a really good example too. How do I write that down? That's a really great example.
Trying to think how that would work for like it's almost like onboarding, like the same way that like most like mobile apps have like a onboarding like slideshow type thing, just like highlighting different components of the site. Yeah.
How would that apply to this?
Most of the environments are digital. That's just the closest example I can think of digitally.
Oh, so when you walk into a new environment and you accept the
Mhm.
whatever skills, hooks, or
Like,
um, agents.md is attached to it, then it provides onboarding.
yeah, or at least some way of telling the user like this is now possible. That could be a very core piece of that would very much need like a script aspect to it. Like,
Mhm.
oh, you are on Arcturus Labs now. You can chat with support or like actually like identify demos. I don't know.
Yeah, keep rolling these ideas around. I don't know when to tackle them because it's also potentially complex. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I've entered in a museum, and part of the onboarding hook should also say, okay, well, this person has gone through the onboarding process. We don't need to run it again. But now we're keeping track of state of some other entity, and so it's something that is a big old can of worms. But I think it's a good can of worms. It's just when do we time it?
Mhm.
Um, Other stuff of interest, before I shut up, is yesterday I implemented two changes that are useful. And am I going to remember what both of them are? There's one. Oh, crap. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, okay. Two changes. They're a little bit separate. One is everything is powered by agents, and it's absolutely critical to see the prompt that we're shipping off to the agent. Like, that's become so opaque these days. But I've got a log that's a plugin to Pi, at least. So, you don't have to trust that we're injecting the right skills and the right preamble to explain this is Rook and you have, all this crap. You can look at that log and you can tail what's happening, but you can also explicitly say, all right, just give me the instructions, and you can see exactly what's going to the model. So it's kind of useful. The other thing, and Nick, this will be interesting to both of you, but Nick, this is more related to the stuff that you're thinking through. Um, I don't know how often we end up in an environment and what environments we end up in, but I've started logging them. Inside, I've got a get ignored directory that's literally called ignored, all caps at the root. And so I've made just a little crappy plugin thing that every time you enter, you register an environment. Every time your client, any client registers an environment, it'll create a new file in there that's the name of the environment, which has been renormalized to work as a file name. And it'll dump in a JSON-L row of all the metadata associated with that registration. So I don't know what the metadata is hardly, but we can look at that and see what environments are really ugly looking and how often they're being visited, because it'll be one row per every time you visit it. I guess it's logging the time in that as well. I'm not sure, but as we start collecting stuff, we can look at all the places we're visiting. Uh, Obviously, make sure to filter your own visits if you'd like to. But so that exists: logs, locations, apps, and websites. Maybe before we jump into brainstorming, and brainstorming will be the bulk of it. Uh, Nick, have you been able to think through any of the stuff with skills and environments?
In like as it relates to like the UX and how we're jumping in and out.
No. Just the setting up a environment repository that stores all the skills and stuff.
Sorry, I thought you were saying we were skipping that, or we were coming back to it. You're saying brainstorm first. You want to hear what my ideas are. Yeah. So most of what I've had like a few cracks at it, and one The main problem that I'm running into is basically like how much automation do we give it versus um, which is possibly sketchy for like being able to do prompt injection and just like not really knowing exactly what it's creating, versus like it kind of following you along and trying to like figure out skills based off of what you're doing, which is also which is maybe like more challenging technically. So the thing that I like had running right now was more of kind of like a mapping of the environment that you're in. So if you go to a website and it can grab the llms.txt, it, creates a bundle and can pull in basically information about like, oh, what is this environment generally, and maybe what are some of the pages that would be useful to check out. But like, I mean, that's maybe like an okay thing to put in our environment repository, but that also is probably just something that needs to happen when the environment loads. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily a useful skill to have saved in every different environment.
Well, it's at least when we come across the rare website that's got LLMs.txt, which I think is becoming less rare. That's kind of a freebie. Now, I wouldn't say scoop out all the text in that and dump that into our skills, but with the presumption that Rook has web search capability, I think we should just assume that that's going to happen. Then one thing you can do is just say, okay, it's got LLMs.txt, and you can either, and I haven't thought through this yet. Either we save that as the Either we save that in the agents.md file associated with the environment. Every environment has potentially agents.md, skills, mini, MCP, haven't fleshed it out, and keep thinking about it. Hooks, apps, we could potentially do other things. So you could save the fact that this website has llms.txt in it, or maybe this is the type of thing where it's like you save nothing, but you always check, and so maybe needs to be something where it just does that.
That's what I'm thinking more. Whether it's like, however we figure out the best way to kind of like get a map of a new environment, which probably for websites is llms.txt. I haven't really played that much around with like how do you maybe get that information out of a Mac application or something like that. But I think it's more useful to do as like maybe also a hook as entering an environment where it kind of grabs that information and gives itself like a little map of what it can do, because it could be changing fairly often, is like one thought there. And I don't know. I just don't. I mean, maybe we could save it in the environment repository. I think that's more useful being saved in like someone's personal environment repositories rather than a public one, where like you would have to update it all. You might have to update it all the time.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't take. It should be like a pretty fast process. So that is mostly deterministic.
I wonder if we should like try to parse like the sitemap.xml that most sites have anyway. That might be a good way to maybe like dedupe that, then run that through the agent as like a explore system step.
If it's got LLMs.txt, then it's effectively got the agentic version of that. So maybe there's kind of like a cascading set of checks. Like if it's got LLMs.txt, we definitely don't need to save that whole file, because you can just look it up. We might want to save just one little token. Maybe I haven't worked out what the metadata file is associated with the environments, but we might want to at least have some memory that we have visited this website and it has an LLMs.txt, so we don't keep re-interrogating the website over and over. So maybe a little time-stamped little tombstone, like we're assuming this thing's got LLMs.txt until 2027 or something. I don't know. If it doesn't have LLMs.txt, then that's kind of the sweet spot for populating stuff and making it useful. It's like Target doesn't have LLMs.txt. Maybe they do. I don't know. But that's the time where it's like, okay, cool. We've got a cool workflow. There is a skill for how you collect APIs and stuff that are useful and stick it into like a new skill. Yeah, I guess maybe that's kind of what you're doing. You've got some sort of algorithmic process to check all the obvious places, and if it falls through, then you've got an agent skill that's like, here's how I'm going to create a new skill for Target or a new skill for Obsidian app or whatever. Does that feel right?
Yeah. It almost sounds like there's like system level default hooks that just always run, and then more user managed hooks, I guess, for like, oh, if I enter this certain building, trigger this say command type prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always going to be some exploring that's necessary to figure out what's the capability of this environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other possible thing is, I think this may be a little bit trickier, but being able to, I don't know, searching some sort of database, deciding maybe what the database is, but as far as like a pipeline for discovery of capabilities, like searching some database for an MCP or something like that.
Oh, that's
more
a good
related skills. I think that it's so one of the things that I was like kind of hoping to do is like, okay, can it like go and poke around this website and then like build me a skill? Like, can the pipeline just and the AI maybe just build me a skill based off of what this website is and what it thinks someone's going to do most of the time?
Yeah.
As just like a base skill. Which I think that the problem with that one is like it's really hard to quality control. And I don't know that maybe with like a more powerful model, but I don't know that the model really makes great judgment on what someone actually wants to do. So I think that we would end up actually just like creating a lot of less useful skills. And it's treating it more as like treating this ticket more as how do we map out the capabilities rather than necessarily like creating pipelines that are actually going to create skills for me by just like typing in a website or something, which was kind of what I was looking at first.
I don't understand the distinction in those last two options yet. So like
sorry, go ahead.
The future state, still don't know how we get there, is that there is such a thing as an environment repository canonical server that you ping it with an environment ID, and if it either says none, we don't know anything about this, or it might say like just give you the metadata, this thing has LLMs.txt maybe, or MCP server blah, maybe that's good enough, or it says somebody has created a set of skills, and probably in the metadata it's like automatically generated versus like Nick Schwartz artisanally crafted this or something like that. But the cold start problem is the killer. It's like, how do we overcome the fact that a lot of the places that people are going to frequent don't have skills associated with it yet. So we've either got to manually create it, or get a community to create it, or create a skill that automatically creates them if it can be done well, which is totally.
Which I think at least with the tools I'm using, I don't know if that final option is particularly useful at the moment.
Have you seen?
And maybe I just haven't found like a really. Sorry.
Have you seen evidence that it's like just not returning anything that's terribly useful, or?
Yeah, well, there's examples where it's like, if I think about, I think it could do something well when it's like using specifically like an API based service. But I was like, okay, so the other day I was looking at booking flights on Google, and I wanted to check out like a bunch of different scenarios. We're going to Europe, but then we're like, oh, maybe we want to go to Turkey first, and we want to see like what days make the most sense and where we could, like how we can kind of map out the thing. So, I mean, Google Flights is great because it compiles all these things, but they don't exactly expose like a lot of the API information. It's like a lot of stuff in the UI. Um, and so the bots aren't great at just like going and figuring that out, or it takes just like a ton of tokens, to go do it, versus me kind of like what maybe my ideal maybe is like a bot watching me use it, and then it knows like the steps that I'm taking so that it could recreate them in something like that. Does that make sense? Like those scenarios which I would find useful because for like something like Rook, because it's versus another agent, let's say, because it's actually not stuff that's like there's an API for, and the agent can just like read the API docs. But it's not very efficient.
Maybe one way we could approach this is if we don't try to infer the goal or current task that the user is trying to accomplish, and we simplify that down to explicitly asking for it globally across maybe just like literally like a text box in the first screen type thing. And that can then bias the search for amongst whatever environment you end up being in. And I think the main thing that might bias is that if someone declares that they're trying to find cool Icelandic flights or something, any environment that they go to, especially immediately after that, like entering that text into the goals box, is going to be something that they as a human expects to have some capability that will help in that endeavor. And that might be something we should log, because that'll automatically slowly build up a catalog of at least expected services that might be useful to generic goals.
So like watch when someone goes to Amazon, and then watch when they appear in the Amazon checkout page, and be like, okay, well they're checking out, so something was successful in this transaction. And then you can basically have an agent farm these interactions for like what are actually useful interactions.
Yeah, I think like inferring the objective is probably, like as Nick mentioned, is tricky and going to be error prone. And if we just make that upfront as something that you are actively, it's just like a overarching prompt to any given like Pi agent or Claude agent that you start up. That might be something that should live above environments, and just like if you go into a completely new like the Pi agent, if you go to like FlightAware or something, you might not actually know the full context of what that site can do. But if someone puts in the objective beforehand, you're going to know it's probably related to it.
So I agree with the approach in principle, but it's very complex. And that's the problem with everything we're talking about right now, is like, well, okay, well, let's figure out something else. Well, that's complex too. Some of the stuff, like you were talking about, Nick, is designed. It's the reason that I worked on the creating my own skills. So at least I can go to Travelocity and I can say, well, watch, we're going to work on this together and figure it out, and then I can save my own skill. but then ever after that, we're depending on the community, which doesn't exist yet, to send us like telemetry, which they don't do, which is problematic.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we can just try something simple and see if it works at all? For example, obviously there's the short stop of LLMs.txt and MCP servers, both of those. But replace the researchy thing that has to do what we know LLMs are not great at yet, inferring what a person is going to work on, and replace the thing where we're logging telemetry from all of our customers, our users, with just like do a quick web search and see what the API is for target.com. And if it comes back with something useful, then apply an agent to like, okay, here's at least the surface area for logged out API. And then maybe at least that's, that's not bad. I did that for Wikipedia as an early example of this, and it's like, okay, well, you've got the ability to search, and you've got the ability to, forget what else, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that actually makes it easier to navigate Wikipedia if I can use their search. What about just like,
so just I think fully focusing on, well, and I guess maybe I also misread a little bit of what this is, but purely focus on like the very baseline capabilities and not worry about like curating any specific skills,
well,
which are combinations of the capabilities, maybe.
Right.
the skill itself, and maybe this stuff fits in agents.md. Agents.md gets directly, completely dumped into the prompt, so it's going to take up a lot of context if they don't want to use it. Skills is gradual, whatever, gradual revelation. That I've got a block on that word. That sounds like biblical. Partial review, but basically we could inject a little thing that says, hey, here's your target.com skills, and then if you unfurl it, you just got a lookup of the API, which they should have put in LLMs.txt, but maybe they didn't if they don't have it. And that's at least enough. And maybe there's like a little description with each of them, like use this for search. And just, it'd be lowest common denominator, something that's easy for an agent to do. And it is a bootstrapping technique. Effectively, we're starting to get some skills where it has some modicum of utility, but it's probably not the Cadillac version. It's not like, oh, you're a Travelocity because you're doing something very, very specific. This is the typical workflow. You do these 5 steps. It won't be that at first, I don't think. The name of the game is mass producing these things to be relatively useful, and then learning from that how to mass produce them to be wildly useful.
Okay.
Is there?
By the way, Nick, we've handed you the task of like just slaughtering your API key. Like, please march over these 10,000 URLs. Don't do that, of course. See if you can figure out like something that seems to be working in a bunch of example cases, and then commit that, and then I'll subsidize the slaughtering of the API tokens.
Okay. I've also been using like just my $20 codex, which can give a decent amount of stuff too. So it's it should be fine. But I'll do that. I'll definitely like push some stuff up once I have things that seem like at least the generally right direction.
Okay, cool. Do you feel pretty reasonably good about the direction for that?
Yeah.
Cool. Google's kicking us out in 10 minutes because this totally should have been Zoom, but Nick's got to leave in, 7 minutes anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a shame. Michael, I don't know if you wanted to stick around a little bit longer or not. I don't want to stick around too much longer because I really want Nick's opinions in the UI too. And really want Greg's opinions too, especially about like the mobile stuff. He's got some feels around that I want to hear. So I guess maybe the last little segment here. The UI currently sucks. Many times I've got the chat, the UI open, and I'm talking to it, and I'm thinking, oh wait, I've got a side question. There's no way to ask a side question. You like have to completely leave this thing, get a new thing. So like I don't know if it needs tabs. We don't have the notion of subagents, but it's not a hard thing to add because Pi can call Pi in just the same way that Rook can call the Rook CLI. There will be a Rook CLI client that works just like Rook. So we can play with that. I've thought about making it like old school MSN Messenger. Did you ever use that? Where basically you're talking to people. So like every tab would be like who you're talking to, which is a nickname for an agent, and the topic, which maybe it would just be algorithmic, or it would be, maybe an agent could figure that out. And I was thinking about like working on a project with my agent, but occasionally the agent itself can start talking to other things and I can see their tabs open up. This is far future. I don't want to do this immediately. I've thought about including my wife as one of the tabs so I can effortlessly go between talking to an agent that is an agent and an agent that is my wife. She's working on videos for me. She might be watching this too. Yeah, I don't know. The environment's like Windows sucks. Soon we're gonna make it where the agent can choose which environments to jump into so that the user didn't have to pick around. But maybe we want it so that in environment you say always enter this no matter what, or you can you're allowed to enter this upon your own decision, or you can request to enter it, or never ever ever enter this no matter what. I mean, so there's those type of affordances that I haven't thought through. So I don't know. Just kind of be rolling it around, see what's useful.
I think that a good place to start, like something that I think will just generally be useful, is the making it easier to deal with multiple agents. That's just like something that I deal with every single time that I'm using anything with agents. So whether that's tabs and also I like the idea of like, oh, I just have a quick question, like mini breakout. That's something that I deal with a lot with collaborators. Like, oh, you're in the middle of this work. I just want to ask a quick question about something else or unrelated. And so it's like new tab, Claude, make sure I'm in the right repo. It's like that kind of thing. So I think both of those things would be very useful to play around with.
Do you have any top of minds, Michael?
I'm just thinking whether we should, what other sources we could mine for capabilities for different websites. I was thinking maybe we should scrape Grease Monkey scripts or something, because that gives a bit more nuanced view into what, depending on the script, what the actual website API is and what might be actually possible on it versus actually introspecting into the website itself. I don't know, but there's other collections of scripts that hook into websites that I'm sure we could leverage in order to build up a repository of skills.
I've copied the issue into the meeting doc that I set up. So feel free to add ideas to that. And if you guys take the fancy, you guys ought to hang out and hack on some stuff if you want to. Or pull me in too. That I'm obviously very vested in whatever we do there. Any UI UX top of the mind stuff, especially for here's kind of the main thing for Greg, and since it is a huge differentiator, physical location awareness version. Like the phone app, it's probably going to be speech to text, whereas maybe that's not the case for the desktop, or maybe it's less important. Phone app, you're probably going to have threads that are like, you're more likely to have a long running thread where it's just like, I'm going to just pop in and ask random things, and environments pop in and pop out for that thread, whereas desktop, you're more likely to have long running project threads. So I think the way that the threads are being used are different. So what's an anonymous jackal is typing into the document. That's your spirit animal.
Oh, that's me.
Yep, you're a jackal today. Desert dog.
I wonder why I'm anonymous when I'm logged in.
Michael, your spirit animal today is a Dumbo octopus.
Dumbo the octopus. Interesting.
Nick's a jackal. You're a Dumbo octopus. Sorry, man.
All good. All right, there's.
After the scene,
Well, I've got to hop, but
Yep.
thank you for this. This was useful for my thing especially. So I am going on. Well, I might actually end up having some time this evening. So if I do, after what I'm working on, I'll try to push some stuff up to the repo so other people can play around with it. What I was curious about is some of the stuff I was doing was like filling out more of the metadata files that have been started. Even if it's something like that where we're kind of like defining specifications of things, are we still cool with just pushing those directly on main and we can chat about it and figure it out? Or do you want like some other way of reviewing that? Like when we're really defining like, what does this mean? And like, how do we want this to be structured versus just like pushing up new capabilities, I guess.
I'm still like I've never worked on an AI team, which is weird because I was working on Copilot, but I quit before like AI completely consumed the development lifecycle. And so I'm most comfortable with like issues and PRs, but I think there is something interesting about the flexibility of just like, let's push it to main. So here's my thoughts. If there is an issue associated with it, and if it's an issue that's meaty, lean towards creating a PR, but go ahead and push that PR to main, because you can fairly easily undo the PR, and that at least links the issue with the PR, and it's all at least clustered together. If you have something where it's like, this is, well, crap. And why is my stupid screen so small sometimes?
Recording in progress.
All right, we're going to continue. I'm going to be right back. Right.
Yes. I
All right, and we're back. Yeah,
I
so
didn't.
go for it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize this, but like dot well known, is like actually more of a standard than I thought it was. For like agent card dot JSON, I put in the dot, but like the agent to agent capability manifest is a thing apparently that Google is behind, so probably going to be useful for at least should be part of the chain of things to check when exploring a new environment. Um, yeah, apparently there's like a well-known slash MCP, but it's like a proposal, so it's gonna be super hit or miss. But
That's kind of cool. Would you mind sticking a comment in that
yeah.
issue that's just above there?
Oh yeah, I put it in the doc, but yeah. Let me. Back.
Yeah, you might be interested in looking over the description too and see if it makes sense to you.
I'm yeah, let me.
I mean, not necessarily right now, but effectively, I had it listen to our transcript of one of the first times we were talking, and because you rattled off several ideas for this in our first or second meeting, so I shoved that into an LLM and was like, all right, we'll peel out the the techniques mentioned.
Somehow I lost.
issue 64.
Hooray! Website discovered quality. I love LLM generated Markdown. It's so much prettier than mine.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, cool. Thanks. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I went off on a tangent and I'm like downloading every favicon for old businesses. Just to make the like map look not shit.
That's probably something that belongs in the metadata too, eh?
Yeah. But it's really inconsistent. Like Google and like DuckDuckGo, they have a dedicated endpoint to query for a domain's favicon, which is really odd. And but I think it's just because otherwise you have to like possibly parse the HTML to get it, so it's much more reliable to get it through like Google's favicon search.
I thought there's like an endpoint and it's a get endpoint and it just returns the image or the default image.
Yeah.
And it's just like a weird hash, right?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I always thought of them as just like, oh, you just always put like a favicon.ico, but now there's also like the Apple icons that are defined independently that
Oh,
you
I'm
might not have a favicon, you might have an app icon only type things. I don't know.
oh, I was thinking of something stupid. I was thinking of a
No.
Gravicon or whatever it is where it's like,
Yeah, the like meta user profile
yeah, so
avatar.
that everyone in the world automatically has their own icon, but if you want to, you could replace it with like your actual image.
Hmm.
But yeah, like if it's got a website like Target, you can just peel off the logo of the favicon. You're right. You're right. That's the way we should do it.
I know. But yeah, I don't know. I like reparsed it from all of the building metadata links because why not? I have a CSV somewhere that I need to share or put into the repo, and that's like a mapping of brand to URL. That might be actually useful.
That would be good.
Because otherwise it's kind of stupidly weird to
Is that what you're generating to go from the OpenStreetMaps data to like
favicon.
to a URL?
Yeah, I mean it's already in the OpenStreetMaps metadata. Um, like the only reason it already has the website is because it was part of the building information. I'm just extracting those out and trying to group them into the buildings or into the actual business names because there's a lot of variability between the how business names are entered into a generic OpenStreetMaps submission form. It's like, just Chick-fil-A with dashes, Chick-fil-A without dashes. I don't know, maybe they're the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's gonna be a lot of that, but
Real data is dirty.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to abstract an actually better client library for all the random um, mapping type requirements we have because they're a bit more generic than just Rook. But yep, I don't know what.
What do you want to work on?
Uh,
And that's presumptuous. Like you can also say I don't. Rip. Make sure I want to make sure I state that out loud. I appreciate what you do, but if you wanted to work on something, what are you interested in working on?
I'm definitely still. I'm pretty. Um, I do want to improve like location's still very hit or miss. Like it's like unifying like iOS and Android to use the same exact like client in order to look up like businesses and like building details, I think is probably the closest to what I'm actually just doing anyway.
Mhm.
Um,
Do you mean making the
close.
Android versus the iPhone like consistent in the way they determine residency in a place, or do you mean the next step of going from I'm residing at this lat long, or maybe present, whatever, and going to in uh, OpenStreetMaps lookup, or the jump from OpenStreetMaps lookup to environment ID, or even
Um,
the next jump from environment ID to what we do at this location? That's
yeah, I think once it's at a like the locate LOC colon like slug stage, I think that's just that maps directly to the environment repository and the skill bundles and all of that jazz. And I'm still trying to find like useful, like trying to make like useful skills for things, but
what
I need to.
maybe dig into that a little bit, just for brainstorming.
Oops.
One of the features that I just basically haven't used yet,
Mhm.
and I don't even know the shape of it, is like me putting my own tags all over my map and saying this is my house, this is my office, this is my parents' house. I've got two dots. This is my
Yep.
house and this is my parents' house. But I don't know how that turns into a location ID. And should it be something special? Should it be like my colon something, or should it be location colon my slash house, or
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know what our standard is for any of that stuff, and I would love to be able to start assigning um, agents.md and skills to locations, but I can't yet. To my locations.
It's almost, it should just be the address version of the slug for like LOC colon. Um, there's a version of the skull of the slugs that are just the address, or at least the street name and like state.
Mm-hmm.
And that should probably be what we use for like custom buildings. They might not necessarily be buildings, but as long as it's a point and a radius, like that's the fallback for, let's say your residence isn't considered a building because it may be too new or whatever.
What about our users that live in boxes?
Yeah.
Although, what about our users that go hiking in national parks?
I have a trails extract.
Of course. This is location stuff.
I haven't mapped. I haven't like integrated it. Um, yeah, I haven't actually mapped it. Like one of like the reason why I'm messing around with the, well, wait, let me note these down first. Is lat long directly to like location slug would be helpful in general as like convenience. Um,
To location to environment ID, or is that
yeah, environment ID is the same as the LOC colon slug name, right?
Yes. I just have a vague memory that OpenStreetMaps has the notion of a slug. So,
There's a OSM ID that's, if I don't know the address, I sometimes add that to the like location slug, but it's kind of rare to not have that address.
I'm gonna try to prove it wrong at some point. But all right, well,
I'm
let's.
sure it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect in any of these. Like, I've been learning that there's a lot of uncertainty in a lot of sensors in general. That's part of the reason why I've been exploring like detecting the movement better and not just like detect walking, detect driving, detect stationary, like super basic,
Mhm.
because it is helpful to know like whether you're actually walking past a business versus actually at that business, ideally, or are you sitting in traffic and you're going 2 miles per hour and you just happen to be next to a sidewalk. You're not actively walking, but you're like it's very different in terms of like what we should recommend as a close by business if you are driving past it versus walking past it.
Yeah, if you're driving
Uh,
past it, then we might as well just give up. It's like
right.
we can't register all of the environments that you go by.
Yeah, it's just too much and it should just be ignored like conditionally based on like speed and a handful of other things. But I don't know. I'm I'm interested in it for some reason, so I'm just using this as a way of exploring it. Um,
I have a question.
yep.
If okay, I'm gonna share my screen for a second. Is a way of having this question. You see my screen?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna move this fellow out of the way. This is the phone app. It's actually live on my phone right now. So this is,
Nice.
yeah. If I expect you to say I don't know, which is totally cool, but
Maybe.
I have here I am doxing myself. Cool. It tracks how many times I've been places. I don't know what use we immediately have for that, but that's kind of interesting. I've been here 3 times. I'm gonna have to check these out. I have no idea. You're not doing this? I don't think. Are you?
No. This was pre-existing, and I think that was this is I think driven entirely off of the iOS visit construct. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not I think it's like given to you almost by iOS. So it probably doesn't exist in like an equivalent fashion on Android.
Ah,
Um, but I have not dug into this. I do want to merge these
yeah,
because I like being able to see like the context of where this like I can't read latitude and longitudes natively. I don't know if anyone can, but yeah, I prefer pictures and pretty maps.
yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna just stick a map in here and try to map it to a building, I think, or fall back to what it's currently doing, latitude, longitude, and radius.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense. As long as we have both, I definitely think we need both. There's going to be some places that don't have a building, and so it is
Yeah,
gonna be kind of weird. It's like you've been to this longitude, and you've also been to this one, and they're like right next to each other. Um,
right.
I don't know
And
how to separate those out.
yeah, yeah. That's why I like the building polygons idea because it's just makes it simple. It's like, oh, you're in this building. It exists. It's a thing. You don't need to declare it besides click it once and then it's done. But th I think the screen eventually might just become where you declare environment specific or place specific skills slash bundles,
Hmm.
because why not? And especially since you mentioned like the environment screen itself is also hierarchical, based on like the domains or
Hmm. Hmm.
I guess if you're in an application and you can. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent, thinking about like if I was in Chrome, would Chrome be the top level environment that I'm in, and then have the tabs below it, or the currently active tab slash previous recent tabs below that? I don't know. Should it be application focused versus? I mean, that's what environments
And it
kind
can
of
be multiple.
yeah.
Although
Mm,
you can go too far with multiple too. It's like, hey, this
yeah.
one place has 15 aspects and they're all different environments.
Yeah. Or I have 200 tabs open. Good luck.
Although we've
In,
that problem's actually solved
oh,
so far. The way that whenever the Mac client wakes up, it looks at whatever is open. So open
mhm.
applications and that are visible, and open web pages that are visible. It doesn't look at all the tabs. And then ever after that, it only starts updating as you pull other things. Like a user, my agent told me that a user has to pull these things into their foreground. It has to be a user activity that focuses it. So it can't be like a
Yeah.
background process that's running.
Okay. One thought I had is okay. That cleans it up a lot. That can still get bloated eventually, though. Um, no. So for the web tool, would it make sense to have that skill? Like, let's say you're running Rook server somewhere.
Mhm.
I assume it's most of the time someone's gonna have a browser installed on the same computer. Um, should the Rook server use the web browser installed that's available to it to do the any execution of tool calls from other clients?
For
Like,
it
let's say I
will.
was at Publix and I wanted to check on the sweet deals or whatever, and I asked them to like find the latest sales for this given Publix.
Mhm.
It would go to the server. The server could either make the network request just directly through like just in its own process, or it could use the existing browser, like how you currently have it hooked up to as if you were using Rook next to a website. I think, does that make sense? Because one lets you share sessions. The server doing the request directly is cleaner, easier,
Hmm.
but also doesn't let you, like, let's say I was logged into Publix on my laptop and I was running the server on my laptop
Hmm.
and I was at the store. And if I asked it to do something on Publix.com, given that environmental context of me being at a location, that could be really powerful in its own right, but it's also has a lot of implications.
Okay, let me play with this idea. This is fun. I'm gonna talk about the user experience to see if we're on the same page, and then if we are, I'll talk about how I would implement it. Uh, Not to say this is the way it should be, but something you can throw darts at.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at Publix on my Rook phone. Rook server is behind my couch still.
Mhm.
When I talk to this, everything's directly going through to the couch.
Yeah.
And so when I say find me the daily deals, The easiest thing, I'm repeating you, the easiest thing for it to do is to do the HTTP request there, because that's the agent's going to think, well, in order to find daily deals, I need to look at this thing, and it's going to do it. But one of the cool things about Rook is that not only is it present with you in any location, website, or application, but it's like it should be able to inject stuff back into your world. It's like, okay, I'm also present in your phone, so I can show you stuff. I'll show you this. And so what I might say to Rook is, can you show me the daily deals? Or like, can you open the page for the daily deals or something where it's like, I want to see the daily deals. I don't want you to just tell me about them. Maybe I'll do that in 2 steps. I could say, what are the daily deals? Oh, show me the bananas or something. Or I might darn well want it to be 1 step. Show me open all the daily deals for me on my freaking iPhone. So this is okay. I guess that's the UX part. Is that the UX you're talking about?
No, I was thinking more so on the server, skill request comes in to look up daily deals for Publix. The server can decide whether to do it as just a plain like get the website by just get requests to the website, download the HTML, respond back type process.
Yep.
Or it might already have a browser that the user might have been using previously that they logged into, like a Chrome instance itself.
On the server or on the phone?
On the server.
Okay.
Or let's say a different, let's say on the server just to keep it clean.
Okay.
Should it use the existing Chrome? Let's say Chrome's already open and it's has been previously logged into Publix. So if the server opens the Chrome instance to navigate to Publix, it would then have a login session. Possibly.
Oh, you're getting at the logged in aspect of it.
Not necessarily streaming any like screen sharing type things back. That's an interesting idea, but independent of what I meant.
Okay. So let me tie a quick bow in the experience I had, and then jump to your idea, because I cannot think through what how to do what you're trying to do, and it is important. Okay, one experience that I want, that I thought you were talking about, is I say, show me the daily deals on my freaking phone, and it just opens them up on my Chrome inside my iPhone. It's like, oh, cool, that's the daily deal. And I've just got a QR code I can show the lady right now. That's why I wanted to see it on my phone, not the don't tell me about it. And the way that would be implemented is I am in a couple environments. I'm in what shopping store are we in? Publix. I'm in the Publix environment, so I know all the APIs to look up. But I'm also in the app : Chrome on my iPhone. And maybe we shouldn't say app. Maybe we should say iPhone : Chrome or something. Maybe like.
Okay.
But that's I'm in both of those environments, and the iPhone : Chrome environment knows how to open a browser up, so I can do that. That's kind of a fun experiment. Does that make sense? And tie a bow in it.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Now your idea is really important, and I can't wrap my mind around it. I'll do the parity check thing where I explain your idea back to you. You see if I get it right. I'm logged into Publix, and it's got my daily deals, which is different from non-logged in people. They don't actually have access to that page for some reason. So I want to see my daily deals. It could send a curl request at the server, but that's not logged in. We could have an auth flow that logs us in and store those creds in the server. We could access the open Chrome browser on that server that might or might not exist, but if it does, feels a little sneaky to get at the things, but okay, that's another doable thing. I don't, for a moment later, tell me how you make a GET request against Chrome as opposed to against the internet. And then the final thing is my credentials on the phone itself. Maybe are they useful? It's kind of like where do you stick the credentials and how do you get at them and use them? Phone, browser, like native server auth flow that we'd have to build. Am I hitting close to your ideas, to the like problem space?
Yes. Yeah. I think one way to reframe it is, let's say the Chrome instance isn't next to the server. So, but the server knows every environment that each client is connected to.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the iPhone, it knows that the iPhone's at a given business location. Technically, we'll be able to know like what is the current app maybe on the phone, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it works in the background, and you might be using like some other app. So the server has knowledge of every client's current environment. So let's say, so in this example, the server is now in a data center somewhere, doesn't really matter. Your laptop is just running a Rook client, and your phone is just running a Rook client. But there's only one, let's say only the laptop has a Chrome environment attached to it. The server could conceivably forward a request from the Rook phone app to any available clients that have an environment or that are in an active environment that could process it, like a Chrome instance.
How do you make a request against Chrome to open a page? Like I can, on my computer, I can do open : whatever, and that would work, but without a Chrome plugin, I can't get the data back out.
We could literally just call Chrome like headless and have it. There is a way to do it. Let me try it right now, actually. Let me just do it with Publix and see what happens. I mean, we should just call the like the actual like app.
Are you logged in to Publix?
No, I don't actually use. I'm just using it as an example.
See if you can fetch your email from Chrome headless from the command line.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it might do, but yeah, I think it's definitely possible. If anything, via like AppleScript or something. It's not. I know it's possible through like the AppleScript because that would totally just work, but that's pretty invasive. This is all pretty invasive, but I think this is kind of what people expect in terms of like the promise of AI integration.
So, okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. As far as the user experience you're aiming for, I think that is exactly what the users expect. Like, I want to say, show me the daily deals. I want to say, show me my emails. Let's do a for sure logged in thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I've already agreed that I'm okay with you looking at my emails. So just like, I've just got to heard a ping on my phone, look at an email. And if I've okayed that, then I think it's fine. The implementation is going to be the tricky point. And if we go from one client, hop back to the server, and hop to another client,
it's slow. It's
there. I'm not sure. Like, we would have to re-architect a big chunk of the app to make it work, and it's invasive. Do I?
I don't think so because we already have a webhook to every client, right? Oh, if there's an active session. Mm,
Like my client only knows about the server. My phone client only knows about the server. My Mac client only knows about the server.
yeah.
My phone client currently has no feasible path to pushing a message through the server to another client.
Oh, the phone wouldn't be controlling it though, right?
Well, you like I
Be
want to
the
see my
server.
email. It goes to the server. It's like I'm not logged in, and then it goes to the client that's logged in through Chrome. Or no,
Like,
so it'd go to the server that's logged in through Chrome.
r- right. I'm imagining this as the server drives the call to. Okay.
Why not just I mean, like this isn't going to be fun, but I think it is kind of the industry expectation. Why not just set up auth on the phone? So just like in Chrome, I can log in to wherever I want to log into. In Rook, it's gonna be like you're not logged in, but I've read the skill, and here's the OAuth page, and I know how to do OAuth. So like I'll post a hook, and we can get you set up, and then it stores in whatever is the responsible storage place for the server, I guess.
I'm not completely following. Store place on the server.
By metaphor, Chrome. Um, so if I want to check my email, I go to Chrome and it's like, you're not logged in. I'm not going to show you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I log in. It's the like 5-way authentication, whatever they do these, whatever, OAuth. But if I'm on Rook, then I can say, show me my emails. And because it knows who I am and I've created skills that like to show where they are, it knows where to go get them, but it's like it pings it and it's like, burn, you're logged out. You need the bearer token and all that jazz. I don't know anything about this stuff. I have to learn myself. But I say to the agent itself has read, since we are in the Chrome environment and we've got skills for Chrome and it's already read them, it's got that little paragraph about, oh, here's the OAuth flow, you hit this and blah, blah, blah. And so my agent knows how to do OAuth. We'll have to make sure that that's an easy thing for an agent to do.
Yeah.
And so it'll be like, okay, cool. We're just going to log you in. Is that cool? Yep. All right. It pops up, probably Chrome. I do the dance, and it's like, you're okay to close your Chrome. And then the tokens are stored in securely by Rook in the responsible normal place to do that. Now, in that way, we haven't used anyone else's Chrome. We don't depend on Chrome being there at all. I mean, maybe for the OAuth flow we do, but we don't depend on it being logged in. And the authentication is maintained by Rook itself.
It's gonna, yeah, that's gonna. There's so many nuances between every single service, though. That's the main reason why I'm trying to shortcut it. Like, but so update on what my idea is. So this works, but it actually like grabs all images and stuff as well, which is interesting. Or it's not images, but like the references are still valid. So
Oh,
if you like
interesting.
try this and then you open up the HTML, it looks identical. The problem is this runs in a different profile than the currently open Google Chrome, which means that my idea is just dead in the water because, yeah, unless someone has like a Google Chrome instance that's running in like with like a debugger mode active so that it can be like remotely controlled, it's not really a possibility. But if we want like a screenshot from a website, we can totally do it. But we could just do that on the server as well. So never mind.
I'm very impressed that you were able to do that research while also talking to me. That's having two brains must be nice.
But yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I think the OAuth, like it would work, but it's gonna be validated service by validated service.
like per every website, you've got to have its own special
Not-
cupcake. I'm hoping that OAuth is like, here, this will cover 99.9% of websites and screw the 0.01 that aren't standard.
Mostly because, well, I've made a couple of websites that like do like sign in with Google
Yeah.
flows, and like I mean you have to register and go through like the setup process, and I'm just imagining that across any arbitrary amount of services. I don't know. We just yeah, never mind.
Another
This
way
is the
of
hard part.
another way of handling it is to never log in anywhere, which is not
Yeah.
great for a different reason. But I could say like let's but it does get around a really scary scenario that I was thinking about the whole time we're talking to Nick. It's like, cool, I'm pulling down the capabilities from Travelocity. I'm thinking, well, if I'm logged in, one of those capabilities is to buy me a plane ticket to North Korea, and I don't want the agent to buy me a plane ticket to North Korea. And so, like, slow rolling this is okay, but I do want to make this thing useful. And I don't know how to thread that needle. I think OAuth is not, like, security is the big deal for all these things. I think OpenClaw got kind of dinged for that. And so
Yeah.
the right answer is probably something like, OAuth and not some way of fetching credentials with accessibility or something. But I agree,
Yeah.
it's not going to be fun. I'm just hoping it's not impossibly unfun. If there's in websites and in approaches for authentication, then that we're screwed. But if there's like 5 things that cover 99% of the stuff, then we'll implement 5 things. That won't be terrible.
Yeah, I think OAuth is probably the most generic way of doing it. I just feel like it's also still painful because auth is never not painful.
I know a guy. That's doing security work, and he's interested in our project. And I want to get him on so bad, but I think he's got some other things rolling right now. And also, he doesn't like live streaming. He's like, that's weird.
Oh,
Which
I'm just not thinking about it, so whatever.
I also don't. I agree with him that it's weird, but I'm just going to do it for now.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't care.
So how can we get you on something that's assuming that you want to do something? I'm always realize that. But what is pushing forward the idea of Rook, and is also in your wheelhouse in interest? Like there's like, okay, in my mind, location stuff. The my location stuff, which doesn't work at all yet, really. I've got my parents' house in there. It'd be nice to like have a reminder. I've got like my church. I always forget everyone's name there. I'm gonna start like putting people's names there. How do we get that working? Android versus iPhone parity. Well, of course we're about to rip out the UI UX. So like, that's another thing. What should the mobile UI UX even be?
Yeah, it's I'm kind of fearful of diverging a bit too much with Android app, but there are noticeable like platform differences, so it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, UI doesn't really matter. Like most of the Android app in general was just like completely ported immediately. So UI wise, I don't have any. Um, I think it'll just be pretty trivial to port between them. Um, and that's why I mostly want to. My main focus is just I want to get a like unified way of querying all these building location data.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking it would make a lot of sense to just expose the like latitude and longitude to close by business lookup as a skill or as um like to the agent itself. So
What does
like
it
there's
do?
no reason not to. Yeah, just like, oh, if I'm at like if it like being able to be like, oh, is there like a like what's the closest like Taco Bell to my house or something? And it knows your house, latitude and longitude based on like saved preferences, or like what's the closest UPS drop-off point. Like that's probably in the business data. Um, and that's I don't know, trying to expose more of the like useful features of it as a cleaner API between both versions, and then yeah, trying to leverage it more.
How do you look up a nearby business? There is so effectively. Does the code draw? It draws a hexagon around things
Yeah.
rather than a circle, right?
Yeah, that's how everything's organized in this weird file format database
Oh,
thing.
so it's going to draw a circle or a rectangle around it, and then it's going to figure out which hexagons it's inside of, and it's going to keep subdividing hexagons until.
Yeah, so the hexagons are just a known algorithm. Like it's just a math to generate it across the entire globe.
Mhm.
And so given a latitude and longitude, you know exactly what hexagon you need to look up.
Mhm.
And they're ordered in the same way for all of these different file formats and things. So if I want to look up hexagon 5, well, I know that the latitude and longitude that I want to know about is in hexagon 5 based on this known algorithm. So any client can just know, oh, I only need to request hexagon 5 to know this information. Good. And then it can just pull that one block of data instead of downloading the entire file
Mhm.
and parse just that subset. So it's kind of like paging. It's just paging in like in order to like look up what's around something, you just look up the like 6 closest hexagons. Um, and it's like a hierarchy of hexagons is a better way of describing it.
Mhm.
So like it's just like the same way you do like zoom levels on a map. There's different zoom levels for hexagon, so you can load arbitrary resolutions,
Mhm.
or not arbitrary, they're predefined in the file. But like you generally like I forget what the size of the smallest one. I think it's like forget the size of the smallest one, but it's a small amount of data. It's like maybe like 50 kilobytes or something, depending on what you're actually requesting. So that's how it can like very quickly just like zoom in on like random data. So it's just a weird database at the end of the day. Uh, I don't know. I enjoy it. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I've played with my fair share of that stuff in the distant past. Although they didn't have the hexagon thing when I was playing with it, or at least I was unaware of it. we had geohashes, which is
Mhm.
a fractal lookup. Well,
Yeah, it's very simple.
sidebar. Here's one fun thing I did. So when I was working in Search, is where this came out, and Search looks up tokens, and so a token can be words, but it can also be prefixes of a geohash. So your geohash is a bunch of like, I forget exactly how it was represented. It was like hexadecimal, I think. That makes sense because of factors of 2. Yeah, so like every letter subdivided a square into 16 squares, right? So you have one letter is like a fourth of the earth, and the second letter is a fourth of that one, and the second letter is a fourth. I'm kind of fudging over stuff. But a cool thing that we did is like, if you want to find everything, here's your map, and you want to find everything inside this square to keep it a little bit simple. Like, oh wait,
Oh,
no, everything within the circle. We'll say that everything within the circle. And so what it's really going to need to do is find whole squares that it can find, but then it's going to have to find all the partial squares in there. And in order to look up, like, in every one of those things represents a token in Elasticsearch or Solr. And in order to look up all those tokens, if the tokens are lexicographically in order, like if they're not skipping around too much, then it's a scan. It's a direct scan on memory without having to like go into like
yeah.
the virtual memory jumps around and stuff like that. You don't have to like trace many pointers. And so if there's a way that you could index, gosh, I'm gonna forget the core part of this. The way the map was traditionally indexed was that this square, you go 1, 2, 3, 4 for the subsquares. It's Z indexing. For this one, it's like Z, 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 Z. But
Right. Yeah.
if you can index it with a space filling freaking curve, then it keeps as much of those squares together without large jumps in the token space to some other token that has a different prefix, and it just kind of like keeps all the scans clumped together. And so
That
this was me geeking out over the stuff, but I never got to use it after that. It's like I built something that was just, it was a fantastic weekend. It was the most bit twiddly stuff I'd ever done, but I never really used it after that. It worked. It was great.
that's very interesting. Like the yeah, I think it's basically like the geohash, but just hexagonal effectively.
How do you, if you got a hexagonal tile, okay, if you got a square tile, you can fit 4 squares in it. If you have a hexagonal tile, you can't fit 6 hexagons in it because it's got triangles left over. How does that work out?
Can you not? Wait.
Nope.
I forget geometry. It's 7. Yeah, they don't tile. Wait.
What's the name of this protocol?
Like H3 hierarchical grid. Uh, it,
Oh.
oh wait, yeah. Okay, I found a good example.
Oh, there's like interesting overlaps. I bet that's probably on purpose even.
So it's like 7. Yeah, because there's zoom level, so you're declaring a zoom level usually beforehand. So you can kind of just, it doesn't actually, I don't know, it's what AV uses. So I was like, okay, probably useful.
That's really cool.
Side projects are side projects.
The other problem is you can't tile the entire Earth with hexagons.
Yeah, I think the North and South Pole have like a
I see
pentagon.
it. Yep, there's a little pentagon.
Yeah, so it's good enough for most of the planet.
I love stuff like this.
Yeah. I don't know. I kept finding that every single like interesting side project I wanted to do devolves into like needing some type of like geolocation stuff. And I hate relying on like an external service constantly for arbitrary lookups that have no reason to not just be local if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, because it seemed like the universal index is physical reality. So it's nice to be able to just have a file that has some semblance of context in that respect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, so I'm probably just gonna continue messing around with the actual like implementation and like merging of that like known places with actual building lookup data so that we can actually start tying skills to like known places.
Is that how close are we to that already?
That's pretty dang good. Like known places because yeah, I have not investigated the existing code for the known places screen.
Known places being the places I've assigned to.
Yeah,
What do we call that? Like, how about
it's just
my places? Like,
sure.
how do we? Okay, let's think about that for a little bit, and then I gotta go. Unfortunately, I can't work on this today. But if right now we have an environment for location is LOC colon stuff, but should we do something different for my places?
It should be address or something.
What if there's no address? That's one thing I'm still curious about. Eventually, I will stump you with that one. So keep in mind that has to be true at some point. But also, like, how do I distinguish between this is my environment versus just any old environment? Or should we? Maybe you're saying, don't worry about it.
Like I like the idea of a slug being something that a human can construct and read. We can very um like we can just have it be the like basically the geohash like string of like literally it going through the progressively larger hexagons to the exact location.
It's not readable.
That would be pretty sparse. There's no reason not to do that. Besides, no one can guess that, or like no one's gonna be able to write it. The the primary like location slug that I'm happy with for like businesses is like location colon the brand top level domain slash the address as like a like street address, zip code, state. And I think that's a relatively good enough way of it lets you relook up from the slug. It usually won't have a collision, but if it does, there's a different variation that has the OSM ID after it that makes it completely unique, but it also makes it impossible for someone to know.
Yeah.
But I think as long as it provides enough information to look up the building from the slug, that's all it really needs to do. Well,
If I'm at my house right here, then what is the environment ID for where I said?
if there's a building, it should be the building address or a close by address.
Do we skip the domain name looking thing?
Yeah. It would just be an address, or it should just be an address.
Okay.
Or should it be like location slash like your username? I guess we don't have users. Like, would it? I was just gonna go with like address or worst case like longitude slug.
I was thinking about location colon like my places slash, but I also might visit places that aren't my location. Like,
Mhm.
um,
If you just want to remember like anywhere that you might want to define a skill to an agent, I think is the reasonable, which is difficult because should my places include environments that move, like an RV or a vehicle, or I'm just like adding exceptions. I don't know.
yeah, actually, early on, throw all those darts. We need those darts.
Yeah,
Um,
probably. It's probably not. I think that's a special case.
right. There's gonna be a lot of those. Let's get them all out of the way. Like, honestly, in the back of my mind, I've already decided we probably don't need like app colon as an example of how flexible this stuff still is in my mind. Because app colon Chrome, well, Mac colon Chrome might be a different thing than iPhone colon Chrome. Would certainly be a
Yeah.
different thing than Android colon Chrome. Maybe we need that. Something where it's like really, really big picture, unique identifier.
Right.
And I don't know how location chops up, but like
Mm,
conceptual concept colon, I don't know, study might be an environment that I stick something in. I don't know.
I I think there's a taxonomy we can steal for this somewhere.
That's why I pay you the big bucks.
There's some I don't know. I've seen it before. Like it's similar to like the Open API spec for like REST APIs and such.
Mhm.
There's something similar for like just general um let me try to find it.
Is this OWL? Please tell me this is not OWL, the web ontology language.
Maybe no. There's Sparkle as well, which is terrible.
I've had my dance with Sparkle. No, thank you. Very cool idea.
I know. I'll mull on that a bit. But yeah.
So back to locations briefly.
Yep.
How do we absolutely ensure that the location is unique? That the location's environment ID is going to go through a fallback set of steps so that whatever we finally get is absolutely unique and not likely to change and easy to encode. For example, I do like the idea of the store being associated with the address. That looks pretty good. And then we got some places where it's like the store that used to be there and also associated with the address. That gets a little bit murky. I'm going to just a few darts and absorb them. Also, is like whenever we encode an address, is there multiple encodings for one address, or will they always absolutely turn out the same?
Right. They won't. And it's almost impossible. Well, you kind of mentioned this already, but like the underlying business that exists at this location will change. So these are not going to be completely stable ever. Like if I like, oh, this store is used to be at this address and it moved to a different address, that location identifier is now completely void. Or it's it's possible to look it up and find, oh, this business used to exist here. It used to be valid, but without like the OSM ID itself is the most stable identifier because that's unique, but it's just a UID in their database.
What is that attached to? A building
Oh,
or a lat
absence.
long? Say again.
Building or business, or it's actually generic. I think it's literally anything. It's a very long number. Like OSM ID. It's literally anything that's represented in OpenStreetMaps.
Oh,
Literally anything. Like even
like a
like
river.
yes.
Okay.
Pretty so it's probably the most stable you can get. But it's also long because it's everything.
Is the Gulf of Mexico represented as one of those UUIDs?
Probably.
Here we go.
Like
Is it?
yeah.
Okay. Is that the same UUID as the Gulf of America?
Gulf of America.
This is actually a useful test. I'm seeing how they deal with.
There is no Gulf of America.
Okay. Oh, now we're getting political.
Apparently.
Lines
I
are
mean,
being drawn.
Google Maps has this problem all the time
Yeah.
of
yeah.
random words. But actually wait a minute. Yeah, okay. So actually no, it's the same thing. So if you click on that link, it's Gulf of Mexico is the official name, but there is an official name EN US USA metadata field for the official name in the US, and it is Gulf of America.
Interesting.
Economy
Okay.
is evil.
I mean, yeah, that's well handled.
Yeah, that's why I probably would just default to an OSM ID if you do not care about like user readability. Probably should just default to that as for simplicity.
Okay.
Eh.
Then maybe. Do you remember we had the problem with Martin's Barbecue down by whatever sushi place having
Yeah.
a previous place?
Yep.
Is that one OSM ID or is that multiple OSM IDs?
The location is separate from the.
Do you mind screen sharing? I'm kind of curious about this stuff, anyways.
How do I, where is actually I guess my what is it? Martians Barbecue.
Not Martians. Martins.
Martians. Trying to remember which one it was.
It's the one by Sushi Love by Vanderbilt.
Okay, let me. Need Google Maps in order to give me. Okay, found it.
Screen
Okay.
share. I want to see.
Wait.
I'm blind.
Okay, wait. I think I found it.
Well, crap.
Where?
Now what have I done?
up. I need to send the request to share.
You got it.
Hopefully I'm not going too long.
Well, yeah. I'm trying not to think about it.
Application window. Yeah, so OSM ID is 374 whatever.
Okay.
Let me go to Mexico, the Gulf of said Mexico. How do I look up the OSM ID on this? OSM ID lookup. Where is it? Is yeah, this is the one. Okay. Where I need to add an OSM ID link to this. This is good for debugging though.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I think one of those other dots that's inside that building was the previous owner.
Right, because there's two.
Yep, there's two Martins and there's Logan's Roadhouse. Okay. Logan's Roadhouse is apparently a different UUI, a different OSM ID. Oh,
Yes. These are
interesting.
separate.
So there's actually two Martin IDs and a Logan's Roadhouse, two
Yep.
Logan's Roadhouse IDs that are unique OSM IDs.
Yeah, these IDs are doing a lot of work to remain stable.
Yeah.
Like if we really wanted to, that's probably the best approach for long-term tying. But
Well,
if you tie it to the business and it's tied to the owner of said business, then do you want the skills to disappear if someone buys the restaurant?
that's well, yeah. If like a different restaurant buys a restaurant, then for sure. Oh, but if it's like it's still
That's what I'm
Martin's,
saying
but
earlier.
owned by
Right.
Chuck.
Infinite complexity, just all of it.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So according to
found it. Okay.
so
This
you're
is
go ahead.
yeah, this is the actual OpenStreetMaps lookup for that OSM ID.
Okay.
It was ended a month ago. That's really recent. It has Wi-Fi. Amazing.
It's actually kind of cool that we have
It
access to
accepts
that.
Visa cards. It has opening hours. I should honestly pull those in. I did not think that was. Dang it! Now I need to regenerate the entire US. Oh well. I need to pull all of these. But like wheelchair accessibility, great. You can have your agent call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the actual.
Can you
This
see
is-
what else is inside that physical building?
It's physical building. Oh wait, nodes. I think is this what? Yeah. Okay, let me just open up a handful of these. So this is a node inside of, at least in OpenStreetMaps, is considered a way, which is just like it's just a building, usually. I don't know what these nodes. Oh wait, these are just the polygon nodes.
Oh, okay. So that's not.
House number. You would have to just do what I'm doing because this is effectively doing like if you were going to do this with like raw OpenStreetMaps data, you could query for the businesses or things that are labeled as businesses around this point, and that's how I get this equivalent list.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, but
Here's
Yeah.
a question: how do we solve the problem of two Martins there? Because the agent will see, like, maybe we get lucky, and maybe it's designed to be lucky, and your location environment ID basically normalizes them. That would be a nice outcome. So that those two dots that are both think they're Martins become one environment ID. But if there is two environments, then the agent's going to be confused about which one it attaches skills to.
Yeah.
And it will just choose an arbitrary one to attach skills to.
What that makes me think of is maybe we should tie like what kind of building it is, like amenity type potentially,
Mhm.
to the ID itself. So these can be like, what's amenity? Yeah, so yeah, okay, types of amenities. So like it can be like a bar, a food court, fast food, cafe, etc. Maybe we tie like when we save the OpenStreetMaps ID, we prefix it with like what amenity type it is. So if it drastically changes, then we will know that it's not a restaurant anymore, and potentially it's a gym or something.
Yeah.
Like,
This is hard.
yeah,
Okay, so stability of the environment ID is important and also unsolved. I mean, we'll figure out something, but it's that's tricky. Do you mind
That's why-
open?
yeah.
Do you mind opening both of those Martin's barbecues so I can, like, side by side if you can do that, so I can visually see what's the metadata?
I wish I had this.
Oh, those aren't hyperlinks so that you can directly get the OSM ID out of it.
Maybe I can find it via. I would have to. Well, actually, it might be in the change set. No. What version? Does this mean? 7. How has this changed? So it might be pulling in historical. Okay, so this was version 7 of this ID. So OSM ID is the same, but like, oh, so 7 does not have like a zip code. Version 8 does have a zip code.
Oh, so those two dots on your map was two different versions of the same OSM ID.
Potentially. That might be a bug in my own stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that might. I need to double check if I have some bug where it's like if it's the same business name and same OSM ID. It, I'd be surprised if it's not, if it's as if it's a different version issue, but I don't know. because it's Martin's Barbecue there. This one has a category. Oh, they have different categories. I don't know what that means. Off the top of my head, at least.
But those are all the same
Oh.
OSM IDs.
So brand is what I'm trying to auto-populate.
Oh, okay.
It might be because this one I didn't tag as a brand. And this one I did tag as the brand.
Do we need nicknames? Like brand seems like a good nickname. Or
Yes.
name seems like a good nickname. I don't know what the
I tried extracting out a list of brands as like an aggregated thing of every business in the US. I need to find that CSV that I generated for that. But yeah, potentially. But you're gonna miss out on a lot of smaller shops.
Oh, well, sure, yeah.
So if you just want brand type skills, then that would work. But yeah, unsure.
Hierarchical nature is also part of the environment ID. So location : brand, well, location : website is a canonical thing. Slash address, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I gotta head out soon. I think my
Yeah,
family's home.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, so do you feel like you got something interesting to hack on?
Yeah, I'm just continuing with mobile app, specifically Android, trying to merge all of the random location stuff so it's simple.
Cool. Yeah, if you can figure out what's going on in the UI, that'd be cool. I don't know what's going on completely there yet. For me, mostly I'm using it as like an agent, like to type to. But I need to use it more as like a lat long location aware thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to start I need to fix like the restoring the session bug, because that actually impacts me actually using it in like I'm outside of my house and I want to have it do something on my computer for me.
Yeah.
I lost context of what this was supposed to be about. So
Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds good too. All right, cool.
Well, nice seeing you.
Yep. Thanks so much.
Bye.
See ya.
Cool.
All right. Oh, I want to work on this. I don't want to write a talk, but I will write a talk. What's today good? Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I always like interacting with other people and brainstorming because I think better when I use other people's brains. I can only think my own thoughts, and everyone's so smart. We didn't really get into the UI UX so much. Hopefully I teased their subconscious to be thinking about it. I'm not sure what the solution is. Greg, help. You too. A lot of cool work ongoing with getting another client for Android, dealing with locations, interesting discussion about security stuff there. Yeah, all right. So that's pretty much it. Make sure to check out the QR code. Come to the show. I don't feel like pasting a link anywhere, so like screenshot it or something. I'll be talking about building AI agents as basically the core of any AI product going forward. It's like on the inside it's agents, and thanks to Rook, on the outside it's agents too. So agents all the way down. That's it for now. Thanks for watching or not, and I'm gonna keep it interesting. Peace.